Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first nationally televised town hall right here on NewsNation. The 2024 Democratic candidate will take questions from a live audience, including from voters in South Carolina and New Hampshire. We're really excited about this. Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, is joining me right now. Okay, Niall, we get to talk about something really fun. RFK Jr., as polarizing as he is to some voters, his name wrought with dynasty, legacy. He's been trending over the past week because of those shirtless photos and videos of him doing push-ups, hashtag hot grandpa, hashtag pop pop. Is he being underestimated?
Well, you certainly seem to be enjoying the shirtless pictures, I might say. But
I mean, 69 and he can do push-ups and he has abs. I think a lot of us aspire to be like that.
I'll be getting jealous at this rate, Adrienne. But in any event, is he being underestimated? He's a genuine, intriguing figure who clearly has tapped into something that people didn't expect before this race began, in that he's running at 15 to 20% in some polls. That clearly speaks to some kind of appetite for a different kind of candidate. Now, he is very, I think you used the word polarizing in your introduction. There are a lot of things he believes that aren't true. There are a lot of things he believes that are very controversial. So that is the downside for him.
Well, I think there are a lot of things that he has said that he's been criticized for as untrue that were later actually proven correct, especially with the changing information that came about over the past few years. And we can get into that and get into the weeds, but we don't have time for that. More younger voters might know him because he was canceled on Instagram, Meta taking him off the platform and then just restoring his account this month because he's a presidential candidate or a candidate for the nomination. He speaks about climate change as an environmental attorney. He wants federal regulation of AI. Do you think he has a strength there where more young voters will be aware of him because of some of those issues?
He has a strength in some of the latter issues you mentioned, like regulating AI, for example. That does position him as someone who is, I think, more plugged into those kinds of topics. And I think more generally, Adrienne, I mean, there is clearly an appetite for unconventional candidates or anti-authority candidates, and that is clearly part of his appeal. Now, the question is, once it does get down into the weeds, once the scrutiny of some of these beliefs does become more intense, does his support begin to wane? I think that's a really key question. But obviously, he is resonating with a certain proportion of the population right now.
Let's talk a little bit about that polling that you touched on, the latest RCP average showing RFK Jr. polling at 14%. Some polls have him as high as 20. But this Rasmussen report, nearly half of voters have a favorable view of him. More than a third of Democratic voters think he could win the party's nomination. So are more Democratic voters moderate than maybe these polls are reflecting?
I think he is a difficult person to position in terms of moderate versus left wing. I mean, he's just unorthodox. For example, he is very skeptical of the US support for Ukraine. Now, historically, that would have been, I suppose, a more left wing position. These days, it has more in common with Republican voters who are more skeptical on that question than Democratic voters are. So I guess all I'm trying to say is the old sort of style of saying this is a left-wing belief, this is a moderate belief, this is a right-wing belief. I think a lot of those have gotten scrambled in recent years, Adrienne, be it about COVID, be it about Ukraine, be it even about things like the FBI or the Department of Justice. And he is somewhat well-positioned to capitalize on that sort of scrambling of the traditional categories.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.